Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a nostalgic review or a throwback review to the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Alright, so I wanted to do this one really just for fun because I got this for Christmas this year, and this is kind of a four-pack for the Turtles movies. Now this, when I say four-pack, yeah, that's strange. Yeah, I know. I don't know why this last one is on here. This is like the, what was this, a 2000 movie? 2007. And to be honest, it wasn't very good. At least I didn't like the 2007 one that much. No offense to anybody who does like the the 2007 movie. It's okay, but really when I think about it, I almost prefer it just be the trilogy, the three of them, because those are the ones that I remember growing up, and those are the ones that I watched like a billion times. So I'm sure out of the movies I've seen the most in my entire lifetime, some of these got to be up there. I mean, I had the VHS tapes for these when I was younger, and they got destroyed in a flood, so we had kind of to throw them out and that kind of stuff. But these ones right here, man, are some of the movies I have seen more than absolutely any others, because I just watch them over and over and over again, especially during summer breaks in school and stuff. I just put them in and watch them again and again and again. The original Turtles movies. These were so much fun growing up for anybody who was growing up in the early 90s. So the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the original film, released 1990, and then there was Secret of the Ooze, which was 1991. The very next year, which is kind of unusual because usually they don't get movies done, that quickly. Usually it takes longer. And then the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is, it says here, Turtles in Time, right? And then two is Secret of the Ooze. I actually haven't heard the third one referred to as Turtles in Time, but it is on this case. So the original, Secret of the Ooze, and then Turtles in Time. So the three of them. It's hard for me to decide which of the three is my favorite, but I decided if we're going to do reviews for it, we should start with the very first one, the original. Man, I just watched this movie back yesterday, and so as an adult going back and watching it as a 32-year-old man, it's fun, man. It's really a lot of fun. Here we got the DVD inside for it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original movie, right? So really cool there. And, oh man, I just absolutely love this one. So some things that are different about this one than a lot of the other versions of the Turtles that were around at that time is that the first movie is pretty action-oriented. It's pretty action-based in terms of the final fight with Shredder and everything on the rooftop. And, it's got a little bit of the silliness of the Turtles that they really had in the 80s cartoon series, and kind of that was in the pop culture regarding Turtles at that time, was that a lot of, like, if you watch the 80s cartoon again, or the early 90s cartoon seasons, it's almost like it was half comedy, and then it was half, like serious. Like, it was only half serious. The first season started off as kind of more intense with the foot and the Shredder and everything, and there was better action, stuff like that in the first year of the cartoon. And then after that, it kind of got more and more silly as time went on, especially during seasons like 3 and 4 and 5, where they did tons of episodes. They got really, really silly. And I feel like with the movies, that kind of follows suit as well, too. The first one is pretty serious, right? It's pretty on point and serious. The second one, Secret of the Ooze, starts to get to be a little bit more silly, and then the third one as well too continues with kind of the silliness as well. So the first one, man, I love this movie so much. I love watching this movie. It's just so much fun. The final fight against Shredder is really, really awesome, and Shredder is an awesome villain in the first one, and the second one as well too, because he's more scarred up and everything. And the dumpster, or not the dumpster, but I'll say dumpster, the garbage truck, and then being kind of put into the dump, and then him just kind of, it's like, the hand comes up for the second one, Secret of the Ooze, which I haven't seen all the way back yet. For many years, I haven't seen Secret of the Ooze all the way through, maybe a decade or so. But I've seen it so many times when I was younger. I still remember the gist of it and everything and all of that. But so the first one, some of the fight scenes. So I love some of the scenes like with Raph on the roof, where he kind of goes out and they're like, oh, he's got to blow off some steam. He does this all the time, and they're kind of cutting back and forth between him kind of doing, fighting all these foot soldiers off, and then getting his ass handed to him, and then he kind of gets thrown back in at the end. And it's somewhat similar to the Mirage comics in one of the first fights, especially when the building kind of goes up in flames and all that, and they have to kind of they escape, and Casey comes to the rescue and everything. There's also kind of the infamous fight earlier on between Casey and Raph. That Casey kind of wins, which it's like, it doesn't really bother me that Casey kind of wins the fight, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of cool. He kind of gets stuck in a trash bin upside down. He can't, Raph can't get himself out. But some really great parts in it, like Leonardo doing the meditation, everything, and kind of contacting Splinter metaphysically, like in the mind and everything. Kind of some stuff that was popular around the 80s and around that time with ninjas and ninjutsu and the whole bit. Splinter and kind of his rivalry with Shredder, and at the end it's kind of revealed as Shredder takes off the mask that he's been marked by Splinter. Right, Splinter was the one who scratched up his face, and so it kind of gives you the idea that's why he wears the the bucket hat, or the the cover for the Shredder costume is for that. And his intro in this is awesome. Like you see him come in, a bit like Darth Vader almost, because you got the thing on, you got everybody kind of all the different foot and kind of the new recruits who are like a lot of teenagers and stuff that are just kind of getting into trouble or starting to kind of think about joining the foot. So you have all these people around. He kind of walks out and he's got the awesome armor and stuff like that. And it's really cool. The colors are somewhat close to the Mirage comics, where it's got, even though it was black and white though, but if you look at the figure versions and stuff, they have like kind of this sort of like a pinkish red type of color for Shredder, and except they do add on the cape as well too, which he did not have in the comics, which is good. A good touch. And like I watched on this one, it has kind of the trailer for it. I love being a turtle. There's a funny one where a foot ninja, I'll say a foot soldier, but a foot ninja goes to hit Michelangelo in the back of the head with an axe, like decapitate him, and then he goes into his turtle shell, so he misses, and then he kind of biffs him, and then the guy goes down. So that's really fun, man. Really, really cool. I personally, for me, I don't know if everybody would feel the same kind of way. People that maybe were born later on and are more used to like the CG, when they go back and they watch the puppet version of the Turtles, where you get to see there were the people in suits, but then they kind of animatronically did their mouths and did the different expressions and that kind of stuff for it. I think Jim Henson did this one, as well as, I'm not sure about all of the others, but certainly remember him. Yeah, he definitely did this one. And I think they look great, man. I think the original Turtles from the original 1990 movie are really, really fun. They feel very alive. They feel very animated. There are certain times where their mouths are moving where it doesn't necessarily look exactly like their voice is coming out of that certain character's mouth, like Leo or Don or some of the others, Mikey or Raph. And so, I mean, but even still, I think it looks really great. And I think that the action sequences are really fun to see them kind of fight and everything, and how the whole thing goes down, with, of course, Splinter being the one to kind of defeat the Shredder at the end, because he's able to use the nunchaku and kind of flip him over, and then, Shredder goes down into the garbage truck and everything. So I love the movie, man. It's a personal favorite of mine growing up. I'm not sure how people who didn't grow up with it would how they would feel about the movie if they watched it and they never watched it when they were younger. But for me, it's super nostalgia to watch it back. It's super fun. And man, I've always been a fan of Cowabunga, right? So there's some really great kind of one-liners in it, some really great quotes from the movie. And overall, it's the first Turtles movie, so it does have a lot of fun factor in it as well too. Maybe not quite as much as Secret of the Ooze, which got even more kind of silly and got even more kind of over the top in that. But I think the city has a good atmosphere to it. You start things off and you get to see kind of New York, and you get to see kind of the that late 80s or early 90s sort of cityscape and what that was like, and kind of the foot and the impact they're having in the city in April and everything. So this is the one I grew up with, man. This as well as the other two. Certainly, I think the third one's probably the weakest of the three. The first one might be the best in terms of like an action orientation. And then if you like the comedy stuff, maybe the second one would be your favorite, because it's a little bit more silly. They'll use the turtles and they'll fight with like meat and stuff like stuff like that. Donatello with was it a mop or something of the sort? Just kind of even more kind of silly and over the top when they get into the fights and stuff like that. And there's it's fun too. And the Shredder kind of returning, coming back from the dead and everything, and the Super Shredder at the end in Vanilla Ice, which is good. But this one's really good, the first movie, as just like a movie you can watch. I feel like the third act is pretty damn epic, and maybe it's, I'm just a fan of kind of that, it being as close to real as you can do. Like the less amount of CG you do, the less amount of green screen you do, the more kind of real, costumes and real practical things that you can do. Personally, for me, that's just what I love to see, and that could be a personal preference. You guys can leave your comments below on how you feel about that and how you feel about the use of CG. And of course, nowadays they pretty much do the whole thing in that, and like all the turtles have done that totally. But for me, I miss seeing kind of the puppet, turtles. I thought they were really great, and it'd be really cool if they could somehow find a way nowadays to do another turtle movie where they use something like that. But Shredder's badass in it. Splinter's awesome. The turtles are all, the turtles, right? With maybe the main difference from that to the cartoon series. Raph is more like the comic Raph, where he's kind of a hothead and that kind of stuff, and he's kind of defiant, and he goes off on his own and kind of gets himself into trouble and harm's way and everything. Casey's awesome in it. April is awesome in it. Maybe the closest on-screen version of April, short of I don't think she wears a yellow jumpsuit in this one, but like news reporter April in this one that you're going to get. And man, I love this movie. This is one of my personal all-time favorite movies for sure growing up. So watching it back now, I think it's fantastic, man. I thought it was a great first movie for the series, and it just left everybody, I think, kind of wanting more. Although I have heard that kind of the second one, people wanted to see more of kind of that silly side than they got in the first one, because it was pretty action-oriented and pretty serious near the end there, where Shredder's gonna kill who is it he's got down on the ground, gonna kill Leo. I think so, and he's going to go for it, and then a Splinter kind of shows up to challenge him, and Rokosaki, and then he goes, and then he goes after him and flips him off and everything. So that's really cool, man. I loved watching it back. In terms of score for this one, this is hard to rate. I looked up online. The average score for it is not very high. It's like it's not the best. Let's just put it that way in terms of what it gets. IMDb's got it 6.8. Rotten Tomatoes got a 40%. But I'm like, man, really? Roger Ebert was 2.5 out of 4. I thought it was great, man. I really loved it. In terms of score for me personally, in terms of how I feel about it and the nostalgia growing up with it, I'd have to rate it in the 9s. But I guess to try to be a little bit more kind of unbiased because of how much I love the turtles, maybe I'll give this one an 8. But it's really fun, and I think it's probably the best action-based live-action version of the Turtles there's ever been. And I don't know if this one, after seeing the recent movies, I'm almost sitting here thinking, maybe they'll never do one for me that will be as good as this one was. And I still want to like the new ones. Like I do, I look forward to the last 2 they did. And, I went to see them in theaters and everything, and I was just like, man, okay, it's kind of cool and stuff, but I'd really like to see something more similar to what we got in the early 90s with the original 3, if they could ever do it again, which they probably never will. It's probably too much to ask, but I don't know, man. Really cool. So let me know what you guys think, if you've seen the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, 1990, and if you like this video, maybe I could do a review for Secret of the Ooze, but I got to watch it all the way through first so I can do an honest review with you guys of it, and from today's standpoint. Even though I do remember, it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun too, as well, for sure. So, Super Shredder, Vanilla Ice, yeah, it's good stuff. So, let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. Share, favorite, and thank you guys all for subscribing. If you're new and you want to see more videos from me, then subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace, cowabunga, dudes.